Hey guys, let's talk about our astrology for the weekend. This weekend could be a bit intense. Power struggles might be a thing that we're dealing with. Things also may seem like they're sort of coming to a head. We do have some more like destruction oriented energy going on this weekend. However, there are some very productive ways that we can use this energy to get beneficial outcomes for ourselves moving through the weekend and into next week. So we're going to talk about that as well. But primarily, in terms of how energy is playing out this weekend, the main focus is a pretty significant Mars-Pluto square that is happening in cardinal signs. Cardinal signs are action oriented. This is things happening along the lines of Mars into Pluto. And to sort of bring up the intensity even more, we also have a grand cross in cardinal signs that is playing out synonymous to this as a result of the moon transiting through the sign of Cancer. So we've got an exact Mars-Pluto square this weekend, you guys, which is also a grand cross in cardinal signs. Like I said, things may get a bit intense, but this energy at its highest octaves is all about healing, regeneration, and active creative transformation. So all that being said, you guys, let's get into our report of the weekend. Let's talk about this energy in a bit more detail, what it might be doing for us, the best ways that we can navigate what might be coming with this energy, and what our setup is moving into next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, October 6th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we're going to be talking about the astrology for Friday the 6th, Saturday the 7th, Sunday the 8th, and, trying to pick up on some themes that might be coming through. What perhaps can we expect as we go through the energy this weekend and head towards next week? And I will tell you guys, this weekend there are a lot of like significant heavy hitting sort of like critical activations taking place. If you guys watched my October monthly overview, I was talking about how this month of October is really playing host to some of the most intense activations of the year that are really pushing for some significant changes, specifically in the realms of relationships and finances, with a very strong Libra emphasis going on right now. But I will also tell you guys, okay, the energy that's coming through this weekend, while it's very relevant in terms of, what's playing out now, it is also indicating the activation of a final phase of a cycle that began in March, okay? March 2nd, actually, of 2022. That is when Mars and Pluto last came to their conjunction, and we began a new Mars-Pluto conjunction in the sky. Happened March 2nd of 2022. And since then, we have gone through the first quarter square of that aspect, we've gone through the opposition, and this weekend we have a dual aspect going on. Lots of oppositions and lots of squares going on this weekend, you guys. And I am going to talk about right up front, okay, as we get into this video, the productive ways to use this energy, because there are productive ways to use this generally destructive energy, all right? So anyways, we began a new Pluto and Mars cycle when they came into a conjunction. It happened on March 2nd of 2022. Like I said, we went through the first quarter, we went through the opposition, and then this weekend, we have the third quarter square of that energy coming into fruition that will function as the final phase, as now we head towards the culmination of that energy, the completion of that cycle, and the beginning of a new cycle of Mars and Pluto operating together that will actually both culminate and begin on February 14th, I think I wrote down. February 13th of 2024, okay? So the Mars-Pluto, so there could, what I'm basically saying is, things that are happening this weekend could somehow be related or connected to things that began around the beginning of March in 2022, okay? And like I said, as we go through this video and I get into a little bit more of that, I'll give you guys the dates where we had the first quarter square and the opposition, as there could be some like dots connecting for you somehow along those lines as well. But anyways, we do have this Mars-Pluto square that is happening in exactness on Saturday and Sunday, okay? But it's not just an isolated Mars and Pluto square this time. It's actually part of the formation of a grand cardinal cross, which is another energy that we've really been dealing with since the new moon in Cancer that we had a couple of lunar cycles ago. And it's sort of been popping up when the moon has been transiting Cancer since that point in time because of Pluto's placement in the end of Capricorn and the nodes of the moon, the north and the south nodes of the moon, in the later degrees of Aries and Libra right now. Well, you guys know, if you've been following astrology or if you've been following my channel, that this past week we've had our Mars South Node conjunction, which of course means that with the nodes in square to Pluto, right? Now Mars is in square to Pluto too, and it just happens to be happening in exact correspondence with the moon being in the sign of Cancer at the later degrees, at those exact degrees that would form the grand cardinal cross again. So a grand cardinal cross on its own, even with Mars removed, like this is an intense energy. If you guys think back to the new moon in Cancer around that period of time, stuff that is happening now could in some way bring up like those same sort of feelings and themes that were going on then, because that was the nature of that new moon. That new moon was, I don't remember exactly because I do this astrology every day and I didn't like sear that chart into my mind, but I'm pretty sure it was the sun and the moon in exact opposition to Pluto or very close to it, and also like exact square to the nodes of the moon or very close to it. And so that energy was very much like prominent as we were going through the Cancer cycle, which actually was our previous cardinal energy cycle, the Libra cycle that we're moving towards now. That's another cardinal cycle, cardinal energy. This is action-oriented energy. So when we have a grand cross that's happening in cardinal signs, this is that, you know, very intense and conflicting energy, but it's causing things to happen. It's creating action. It's causing change and transformation. It's things coming to a head in such a way that there's a breakthrough into some type of like action or progress somehow. That energy is again, you know, and it's difficult energy, like a grand cardinal cross, especially with Pluto and the moon, okay? This is powerful, like deep internal transformation. This is like cathartic stuff, you know what I mean? This is also with the nodes of the moon, very, very karmic in nature, having a lot to do with the past and the future, you know, karma and destiny. It's like existentials type of crisis or transformation or like stuff generally. It's this life-changing energy that we're in, okay? And you know, you may only be feeling it in small ways in your personal life, but on a greater macrocosm, world stage, like unfolding history type of level, like when we look back in history, you know, and a lot of time has gone by, we will come to understand that this segment of time that we're in right now in the years, you know, just before and just after was a time when we really were at the end of an era and there were some huge things that happened. And like I said, you know, when you're moving through something, you know, a lot of times it's like watching children grow, you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily see the progress as is happening right in front of your eyes when you're living the experience every day. But like when you look back, you realize like, wow, that was a lot of change that happened over that period of time. So, you know, that's what on like the larger level, this energy is indicating. And so, you know, with that grand cardinal cross set up and now bring in Mars, right? This is energizing everything, okay? This is enhancing the level of, you know, conflict-oriented nature, like combativeness that can go with this, but like I said, you guys, there is a productive use of this energy and it has everything to do with actively and consciously and creatively using it to make productive, positive changes to the world around us, to get rid of what is no longer a fit for us, what we don't want anymore, what no longer suits us, to make room for who we're becoming, who we're growing into, you know, the transformation process that are going on inside of us and around us right now as well, okay? So let's get into it, you guys. Like I said, this is a weekend where we have a lot of squares and oppositions going on, a lot of harsh aspects going on. Things could feel like they are approaching a breaking point. But, you know, as I've said, and I'll talk about as we get through this, hopefully without repeating myself too many times, creative transformation is the key. Now, as we start this energy on Friday, I mean, first of all, we have a Cancer moon all weekend, you guys. Whenever we have a Cancer moon going on, this has a tendency to prime us to be a bit more emotional, like a bit more in our feelings. We also have both the moon and Cancer on Friday forming a square to the sun and also a square to Chiron, as the sun and Chiron are building into an opposition with each other, which is going to be a feature of our energy next week. Now, this could make us kind of just like extra sensitive, okay? Feeling sort of raw, maybe some like feeling kind of vulnerable, just an emotional day. People could really be caught in some difficult feelings maybe with these squares playing out and the energy on Friday. But moving into Saturday the 7th, if you guys watched my my October overview, I gave a couple of dates in that overview that just kind of were popping out at me, you know, in terms of the month of October where like the critical days and energy were hitting. October 7th is one of those days because that is the day that I've sort of been alluding to throughout the course of this report, where we have the Grand Cross in cardinal signs that is setting up with the moon having moved through the early and mid degrees of Cancer on Friday, moving into the later degrees of Cancer, setting up the opposition to Pluto, the square to the nodes, and the square to Mars. This is going to be at its high point, at its like most intense around noon Eastern time. So, you know, you can time adjust that accordingly. But this is the weekend, you guys, to clear out the clutter, take out the trash, like go through drawers, go through closets, clean out the garage, go through places, you know, that you may usually try to avoid or where like the light doesn't really shine, okay? Demolition projects, best use of this energy, any type of renovation, any type of repair, things may be breaking down in this energy also that need to be fixed or repaired, redecorating even. This is a good way to use this energy. When we have Mars, which is our energy, okay, and our action, it's also a creative force and a creative impulse. Coming into any type of aspect with Pluto, which is power, which is regeneration, which is also healing at its higher octaves, transformation, okay, like first and foremost when we're dealing with Pluto. Creatively, using our energy, okay, to make changes, to transform the world around us. This is the higher octave use of this energy, and we want to use the energy this way, okay, and not the flip side, the other side of this energy, which has a lot to do with fierce power struggles, disagreements, and in the context also of this grand cardinal cross, it can make things just very combative, very heated. People could be really quite aggressive. There could just be like a very powerful conflict-oriented nature to the day. So we want to use our energy to affect change in a productive way in our immediate environment and not be using our energy to try to force other people or other situations to like bend the knee to our control. We don't want to be like exerting like dominance and power and control over other people or things that are essentially out of our control in this energy, especially with Mars and the South Node together. The South Node is what we're releasing. It's what we're leaving behind. It's what we're detaching from. And the sign of Libra, this has a lot to do with other people, okay? This is not us using our energy to, you know, like I just said, to force or control or manipulate the outcomes of like what anybody else is doing. We need to use our energy to make things better for ourselves in a way that is suitable for ourselves and who we're becoming now. So this energy can give lots of powerful ambition and also the energy necessary, the motivation necessary to work hard on something to really get ahead. But it also simultaneously can provoke sometimes very like fierce opposition or things that are standing in the way of what we're trying to accomplish in this energy. Opposition, it arouses opposition from others or confrontation of some kind as well. So, you know, again, like the more that we can sort of like stay in our own lane today and use this energy to better our own situations instead of like meddling in other people's situations, the better off we're going to be. We want to avoid any type of temptations to act ruthlessly towards others, no matter how angry they make us or how much we feel like they might deserve our wrath in this energy. It's really like it doesn't ultimately serve us to be the maniacal, like power crazy person in this energy, okay? And we also want to try to be as honest and forthright as possible in anything that we're doing. Illegitimate ways of getting things done, getting what you want, achieving some type of outcome can have very personally destructive consequences. It's come another Pluto Mars transit. So the next one after this would be in February. Okay, so you know, if you're using a back door to try to get ahead in a way that is, you know, Pluto oriented, deceptive, you know, kind of like hidden, secretive, any type of like cheating, lying, or stealing, any of that, it might seem like it's going swimmingly, but come February, when Mars and Pluto come together, there could definitely be something destructive that comes of, you know, whatever seed may have been planted along those lines. So I don't recommend that. Like I said, I do recommend doing everything with as much integrity and honesty as possible, working for the good of the greater whole also with this like outer planet Pluto energy. Good way to use it. Okay, so now let's talk about actually this current Mars-Pluto cycle that we are in, the one that did begin on the 2nd of March 2022. Considering it, this third quarter square of that aspect is the dominant themes that we have playing out this weekend. So it might benefit us to kind of get an idea of what this entire cycle is really about and where it's bringing us for the next Mars-Pluto cycle. So let's talk about that for a minute. Now, as I said, this energy began March of 2022 when Mars and Pluto came together in the sign of Capricorn. But what was very unique about this transit, you guys, and I have now been doing these videos long enough that I actually have videos out for all of the dates that were significant in regards to this Mars-Pluto cycle. So I have a video out for March 2nd when it happened. But what was unique about this, the chart of the Mars-Pluto conjunction, was that Venus was actually in conjunction as well. So this Mars-Pluto cycle was not just about, you know, Mars and Pluto. Venus was right there as well. So on one hand, you know, it was happening in the sign of Capricorn. Mars and Pluto coming into a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. This is going to be, right, this is Pluto energy. This is death and rebirth, okay? This is a very destructive energy. It's about purge, but it's also about purification and regeneration. This is Phoenix rising energy. Mars, this is the lord of the battlefield, right? This is the masculine energy. This is motivation and willpower and strength and courage, but it's also like aggression and anger and rage and, you know, dominance and willpower and like all that type of stuff. So when we have a Mars-Pluto conjunction coming into alignment at the end of the sign of Capricorn, following and closing out Pluto's transit through the sign of Capricorn, which is a long transit. It takes Pluto a long time to transit signs, anywhere from, I mean, on average, it takes Pluto about 20 years to transit a sign. However, some sign transits are significantly shorter than that. But when you break it down, on average, that's what it comes out to. So regardless of whether it's like a 9-10 year Scorpio transit or a legitimate like 20-year transit, like this upcoming transit of Pluto through Aquarius that we're about to have, it's still a long period of time. And with the Mars-Pluto conjunction happening, this will be actually the last Mars-Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. So this is the last time that Mars and Pluto were coming together in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn, Pluto, this is long established orders of power and control, okay? And with Mars coming through and the influence with Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, before we talk about Venus, this is going to indicate, okay, breaking down long established orders of power and control that had essentially, like with the Venus influence, the masculine and the feminine, both there with Pluto, inverted the creative flow and use of energy. This has also been about exposing and releasing us from toxic relationship dynamics based in fear, control, manipulation, and possession. And it's interesting because over this period of time, I have noticed sort of a surge, a large, huge surge in awareness actually surrounding both the themes of sex trafficking, human sex trafficking, and also narcissistic abuse. And both of these two things are very much Pluto, Venus oriented situations, okay? And to have Mars, Pluto, and Venus having come together for this Mars Pluto cycle in the end of Capricorn for the last, right, Mars Pluto conjunction cycle in that sign, bringing awareness to breaking down and releasing us from toxic relationship dynamics that have perhaps been going on generationally, and cycles of victimhood, okay, and cycles of abuse. Over this past couple of years, I have noticed that there's just been a greater level of prominence and collective awareness about these issues. And not only that, also like systems coming into place to help us release ourselves from these cycles and to help us like heal the trauma associated with them to move forward, which I find also to be interesting in the context of what the North Node in the sign of Aries is doing for us right now too, pulling us back into the state of personal self-empowerment and helping us to really detach from the version of ourselves that we may have identified with in the past. So really, you know, it is coming full circle in terms of the way that this energy is playing out. And there is a major healing element that is going right along with it. So we don't want to look at this and be like, oh, it's the end. Oh, it's the breakdown. Because of that, you know, all is lost and all is ruined. No, no, no. It's more like, I mean, let's talk about what Mars and Pluto does, okay? Mars and Pluto together, this is generally a more destructive energy in the way that it manifests. But there are a lot of situations, you guys, where destruction can actually be a good thing, especially when it comes to like to healing, okay? Like any type of illness or any type of pathogen, we want to destroy that so we can return to health. Things that are unsafe or dangerous, we want to eliminate the threat, right? Things that are also preventing any type of growth or evolution or like blocking progress, we want to destroy that blockage. We want to get things out of the way so that things can grow and things can evolve, right? Like, you know, old buildings or old neighborhoods or old situations that need to be cleared so that progress can be made and like development can go on and projects can be initiated and that type of stuff. Destruction does not have to be a bad thing, and I don't think that we should be viewing it as a negative in the context of what may be breaking down right now, because that's exactly what this is doing. This is breaking, this is destroying, okay? Like, the aspects of our lives and reality and our relationships and our thought processes, our mental perspectives, the structures and the, you know, our relationship to authority, the structures and foundations that our reality is built on, like all of this stuff, if it has been keeping us essentially like blind to our own true potential or like detached from our authentic self, or, you know, caught up and enmeshed in toxic situations or generational karma that is preventing us from fulfilling or moving towards any purpose that universe or any role that universe needs to serve us to serve right now, these are the type of things that we just cannot continue to perpetuate, that need to be destroyed. So Mars Pluto energy, while it tends toward destruction, can be very good, very beneficial, very healing, very remedial, very productive for us. That's why I'm saying if there is something that like needs to come down, if there's something that needs to be demolished, if there's something that needs to be, you know, redone or fixed or cleared out, this is the time to do it. We want to use our energy to make changes that make the world around us and our environment a better reflection of who we're becoming now, not who we've been in the past. And this is going to serve us on a lot of different levels, okay? Of course, energetically, you know, when you get rid of the baggage, it creates a void for new stuff to come in, right? But really, like, we are coming to the end of something. And now back to, I started to talk about it, but then I like got sidetracked and I didn't even follow through on this Pluto Mars cycle that we are in right now. Like I was saying, you know, this cycle has really been about breaking us free from like long established orders and ways of doing and being that are not benefiting us anymore. Okay, this can also be addictions that are being broken as well throughout the course of this period of time. But anyways, the 2nd of March, that was of 2022, that was when we had the conjunction, and Venus was right there as well. I always feel like also when we have Venus and Mars in an alignment together, this is bringing up relationship dynamics, and this is bringing up the creative impulse as well. It's also why I said I felt like this was, with Pluto there, bringing an end to any ways that creative energy have been used in like an inverted or distorted way to invert or distort growth and potential or the creative process somehow, and especially if it's been going on for long periods of time as well, as another more like healing therapeutic form of the way that this energy is coming through. But anyways, so it started on the 2nd. So we knew this was going to be a powerful, a cycle of powerful transformation in relationships, aside from the like power and control dynamics, authority, like all that, government, like all that type of stuff that was likely to be meeting its end throughout the course of this Mars-Pluto cycle as well. Now, the first quarter square of that energy, when Mars was in the sign of Aries, squaring Pluto in Capricorn, that was on June 29th of 2022. So that would have been the first critical activation of that energy. Then moving on, we had an exact opposition of Mars and Pluto. Actually, this was between the signs of Leo and Aquarius, because when Mars came to oppose Pluto this time around, Pluto, if you guys remember, entered the sign of Aquarius for a brief period of time, hit 0 degrees of Aquarius, and then went retrograde and backed out. And it was while Pluto was at that 0 degrees of Aquarius that Mars came to 0 degrees of Leo and opposed Pluto. So that actually did happen in these new polarities. But then Pluto retrograded, right? Pluto backed back up into Capricorn, and now we are having our Mars in Libra, 3rd quarter square to Pluto. Also the Pluto-Mars opposition that happened on May 20th, 2023. So March 2nd, 2022, June 29th, 2022, May 20th, 2023, and then here we are, October 7th and 8th of 2023, and we have our 3rd quarter square Mars in Libra, with the South Node forming the square to Pluto, which I also think is very interesting, because when we started this cycle, right, it was Mars and Venus and Pluto, powerful changes in relationships, destroying also toxic or inverted relationship or creative impulses or dynamics somehow. Now we come to our 3rd quarter square. What is going on? Mars is in the sign of Libra, ruled by Venus with the South Node. This is also that release from relationship dynamics that are not suiting us anymore. So there could be, maybe around that point in time, couple of years ago, we started to figure something out, or something made itself known to us in terms of our relationship dynamics or something, or we started thinking about something in terms of relationship dynamics, maybe making some changes. But I would be willing to wager that this weekend, things that have been building up or sort of like working their way into transforming themselves somehow along the lines of either the long-standing orders of power and control on the macrocosm levels, and even the way that we've been, like the rules that we've been adhering to, like in and of our own understanding and relationship with reality as well. It's, it's kind of existential, honestly, but it's pretty big. But also relationship dynamics generally, because Venus and Mars with Pluto to start this cycle, the 3rd and final phase, or 4th and final phase. I'm like thinking it's the 3rd because it's the 3rd quarter square moon, but it's actually the last quarter is what's being initiated right now, taking us back to the end of this cycle and the beginning of another cycle. But for this last and final phase happening in the sign of Libra, right, ruled by Venus, Mars there. Libra is about relationship dynamics with the South Node, detachment, and in the square to Pluto, of course, transformation. So, I mean, it may not even be relationship dynamics. This could have a lot to do with like business, finance, projects, partnerships, any type of like Capricornian or Libra themes. That's another reason why I was saying, cleaning out your closet, giving yourself a makeover, even like regenerating some aspect of your living and regenerating or like reorganizing or renovating some aspect of your living environment, like rearranging furniture and stuff like that. A good way to like things that have to do with aesthetics and images with this Libra energy, aside from the relationship and financial component of things, a good outlet, okay, for using this energy consciously. So, it's really no surprise that as we are wrapping up this current Mars-Pluto cycle, we again have this emphasis on being released from relationship dynamics that aren't suiting us. So, very interesting sort of roadmap how this particular cycle has played out. And then, moving towards the 13th of February, 2024, that is when this current Mars-Pluto cycle will culminate. And also we will begin the new Mars-Pluto cycle. And that, you guys, is going to happen again at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So whereas this current Mars-Pluto cycle that we are in began in the end of Capricorn and was all about sort of like the downfall energy, okay? This is the purge energy, the purge side of the Pluto energy, having to do with these Capricorn themes and also culminating Pluto's transit of the sign of Capricorn. It was the end of an era, like I said, the downfall type of energy. Now, this new cycle that we're going to be starting with Mars and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, this at 0 degrees, this is talking about the beginning. This is talking about what's to come. This is talking about the manifestation of power and potential on a more individualized level. This is about the rebuild, okay? The transformation of like something into a fresh new start and new beginning. This is the rebirth, I guess we could call it, as this energy comes through with the culmination, like I said, of this cycle and the beginning of the next cycle. So this one that we were in marking the end of an era, whereas the new one coming in marking the beginning, and this third quarter square that we're in right now, ironically happening with the nodes also, right? The past and the future, destiny and karma, where we've been, what we're moving out of, this end of the era energy, where we're going, having to do with either releasing some past image of ourselves, some social relationship dynamics, some financial component, some creative way that we've been using our energy, all those ways. So you guys, this weekend and heading into this week as well, to me, this week that we have coming up is one of the most critical energetic weeks of the year. The 10th specifically could be a very significant or eventful day. But again, like we shouldn't be looking forward to this energy with any type of like fear or anxiety or uncertainty or anything like that, even though that is what it might be willing or might be likely to provoke. Because as I've been saying, and if you watched my October overview, I was saying this as well, as we get towards the end of the month, there's likely to be something that happens that like really instills or restores a sense of like confidence in ourselves, like faith, trust, belief in our ability to do something in a positive and productive way. So even though things might be very intense, they might feel like they're about at a breaking point this weekend, or, moving into the energy of next week. There could just be, some maybe more difficult things that we are navigating, some challenges that we are navigating. We are ultimately moving in a good direction. And I'm telling you guys, by the time that we get to the end of this month, things are definitely going to be looking up for us, like in some way, okay? So life-changing quality for sure to the energy coming through, but a big confidence boost that is going to be coming for us as well. This energy is about endings, but we have the ability to, actively create or creatively transform our lives through this process as well. So we can just as consciously work with this energy as not, and just have it sort of work with us. All right, so again, moving furniture, cleaning out closets, redesigning your room, giving ourselves a makeover, decorating, working on a creative project, demolishing something that needs to go, fixing something that has broken down. Don't put yourself in risky situations this weekend. That's good advice whenever there's a Mars-Pluto energy going on, because this, on the lower octaves of it, it just can be a more like violent, ruthless type of energy. And we don't want to use our energy, right, to overpower others. So that's what I have to say about the energy as it's coming through this weekend. The position, we have a couple Sabian symbols that are kind of telling right now as well. The position of Mars at 28 degrees of Libra this weekend, a man in deep gloom, unnoticed, angels are coming to his aid. So again, we don't want to get sort of like caught up in things that could be happening, you know, in the moment this weekend and sort of like apply it to the context of our permanent status in life, okay? There is support coming for us. Like, things are going to get better. Things are not necessarily as bleak as they may seem in this energy, and we really just need to do our best to maintain the faith. We also have Mercury at 5 Libra, a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students, and Venus at 29 degrees of Leo, a mermaid emerges from the ocean waves, ready for rebirth in human form. So while we do have this more like gloomy energy going on, we also have, you know, energy that is indicating rebirth and is indicating gaining an understanding of what is happening now, what these transformations mean, and what they are leading us to moving forward. So the position of the sun, also 5 degrees of Libra on Saturday, circular paths. To me, this is also talking about endings and beginnings. So as I've been saying for the past couple of weeks now, you know, we're in a pretty significant process of endings and beginnings. And the blockages, the obstructions are being removed. Things that need to go are going in this energy, and it behooves us to surrender to the release process or the transformation process when we're feeling like, you know, things can't continue to go on like that. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe. What do we need to know about the energy this weekend? What would be some really good advice for us to keep in mind? We've got 2 cards, and, you know, both of them are right on point with the vibes coming through. First of all, we've got forget the past. Second of all, we've got bless them and walk on. So the astrology is speaking through the synchronicity cards today, you guys. Forget the past. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Literally, the Sabian symbol of Mercury, the messenger, the man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. So give up your worldly beliefs and learn the truths of life. Feed your subconscious mind with life-giving patterns. Accept the positive aspects of God and let go of all the negativity. Forget the past. Get on with the future. In this way, your spirit will gradually grow and you will reach your goal. And then we've got bless them and walk on. The words of a talebearer are as wounds as they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Proverbs 26:22. You can see through the darkness of another's mind. You are not responsible for their negative thinking, and you cannot change their mind. Do not get involved. Bless them and walk on. Best advice possible for the energy that we have going on this weekend, you guys. End of an era, forget the past, releasing outdated things that are just not our style, not fitting us, not our vibe anymore. Bless them and walk on. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would also like this type of content. You guys, leave me comments. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate your feedback. I really like knowing how energy is affecting you guys out there, and if you're having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below, because like I said, I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you guys. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I post those in a Facebook group that I have that is linked in my description box below as well, with my Facebook page and Instagram also. So that is where you'll find that. And come back with me on Monday, you guys. We have a week that is, like I said, you know, there are ways that we can use this energy for the best, so we don't need to like, you know, have like a negative anticipation about it or anything, but it's just likely to have some like more significant things going on. We've got a Sun Chiron opposition going on. We've got Black Moon and Virgo energy that is being activated for the first time, and Venus will be there as well. And we also have Pluto stationing direct in the sky, so that's going to be a big energy as well. I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful weekend, and until next time, bye guys.